All right. Well, I'd like to welcome everyone back to the Personality Debate Show with Kian and Jacob. Uh, we have a lot of interesting things to get into this week, a lot of topics to cover. First and foremost, though, I'd like to thank both of you guys because you had to pull double duty and play in both games. I know that was not the most fun thing to do or, not the greatest on your bodies. So I just want to thank you guys for uh, you know, powering through that and pulling, stepping up for the league.
It's no problem, Noah. Thanks for allowing me to murder my body.
No problem. Always an honor to help whenever needed.
All right. So before we get to the guests, I would like to discuss your guys' overall takeaways from week one. So just give me your summary or your big key moments from week one.
Jacob, do you want me to go first on this one?
Absolutely can.
All right. So I was proven wrong multiple times from my predictions last week, and the big ones I want to go for are the MVP frontrunners currently are Alex Kofer and Ben Morwick. I predicted, if I'm not wrong, I predicted it to be Eric Stearns, Ethan Stearns, or Michael Dwenger, and none of those players are in the MVP frontrunning right now. So Alex Kofer, the quarterback for the Dolphins, played amazing, and so did Ben Morwick. However, since Ben won, he's a bit ahead of Alex, but they both played amazing, and Alex really surprised me. I don't know if you remember from last week, but I did say that I think Alex was going to have a lot of struggles, especially in the managing the team side, but he did really good and handled it really well whenever a player like would get out of position, he would just like let him know to get back there, or especially when someone gets injured, he would maturely ask, crying? but we're but in all seriousness, I think he did a really good job and proved me wrong. And Ben, especially my quarterback, did a great job of handling the pressure that we had going up against the Dolphins, and he's played amazing scrambling wise too, because there were a lot of cases where as an O lineman I wasn't able to keep Aiden from getting to him, but luckily he was able to put a few moves on him, scramble away. And I also want to update to say I was wrong about the most valuable pick for the fourth round, because originally I had it as me or Ryan, and that's just not the case anymore. Ryan, however, was injured for week one, but I did not perform up to my standards. The current most valuable pick, and I believe Jacob will be able to agree with me on this one too, is Noah Dwenger. Noah Dwenger got now. No, I'm going to need your help with this for a sec, just to make sure I get all the stats right. Was it 3 sacks?
He had 3 sacks and a fumble recovery in the end zone.
I got a sack the entire game, and I was the one against him. Now, remember, I played 2 games, and I wanted to obviously conserve energy, but Noah was, even when I wasn't conserving energy, Noah just, I guarantee you he watched the show and just, he definitely took it to heart, and that really shows when someone not only takes the criticism, but they handle it well, and also want to prove you wrong in the field. It really shows that they care, and they really care about what people are saying about them, and they really care about wanting to give the fans a good a good show, I guess. And there was a big thing. So Nakatak had 2 players out. Their O lineman Ben Percival, or their O and D lineman Ben Percival, and Ryan Deep. Now, me and Jacob were the ones subbing in for them, and honestly, I know we were both conserving energy for our actual games, but with Nakatak losing 84-0, that really makes you think, are Ben and Ryan's return really going to be enough? As being on that team with Jacob, just seeing the actual players like Riley and Nick McAdams, their communication, I don't know. Like Ben Thrasher, like I'm not trying to bring them down at all, but their communication was not very good throughout the entire game. I remember there was an entire down where we switched quarterbacks every single snap. So maybe it's just like the ultimate trick play, or maybe it's just they really need to work on that. Who knows? And it really makes me think, will Ryan Deep and Ben DeVersapul's return to Knack Attack really mean that much? Like Ben's a great player. I compared him to the next Quentin Nelson in the last video. But is Quentin Nelson even going to be enough to help Knack Attack from losing the next game 84-0? Jacob, would you like to add on to anything?
Yes, I would. So here's how I felt, Kian. I honestly thought about Knack Attack. I felt like me and you were trying to get them more hyped than Riley and Nick McAdams were trying to get their other players hyped. I felt like me and you were almost the captains for their teams and we were playing for them. Because you saw me, I was like, all right, guys, we're down 21-0. Let's go. And I was ready to play quarterback, because I had the hype ready still. Meanwhile, everybody else didn't have the hype ready. So when it comes to, is it going to be enough? You're right on it. I think they have great players. Riley is super fast. He's a track and cross country runner. Nick McAdams gave one hell of an effort. Ben Thrasher is a good player too. All right. And they all have work ethics. Trust me, they all have work ethics. I hang with them at the gym. They all can work hard. But what I think is going to have to happen is, they need to communicate, like you said, better. And we had zero communication. We didn't know what plays were going on. Well, the most experienced team was Trojans when it came to knowing what plays you guys were going to do. You had a playbook ready to go, and you guys were scoring on every drive. And that time when I let Brendan go over my head when I was guarding Carter to get the interception, you guys were ready to respond when you got that drive and ready to do laterals and things like that. You guys came prepared, all right? And I think Knack Attack needs to be more prepared like you guys were if they want to have a good rest of the season. And that can definitely happen because they have two very tall guys and they have Ben who's there. To me, Ben Thrasher is very good. He's as good as Ben Hula. He can be there to get catches. But if they're not communicating before plays, they're not going to be ready for that. And that's the biggest problem.
And I just want to add on to it. I don't want to completely bring down this team. Originally, I thought it was like Dolphins was going to be the bad communicated team because Alex Hofer wouldn't know how to run it, but he really showed that he did. But I don't want to completely just bring him down because Nick McAdams gave one of the best efforts I've ever seen in every single play. He played a really good role as a rushing quarterback. And I remember one play where there were at least two people, one of them being Michael Dwenger, holding on to his legs, and he is continuing to move forward with the ball in hand. He got I think he got a first down, Noah. Did he get a first down on that play?
Yeah, I think, there was one play where he had several people on him and got a first down.
And it's just crazy because it really frustrates the other team when like half their team isn't able to bring him down. And it's just, I don't know, man. Like Nick McAdams, I think Ryan and Ben and Nick and Riley and Ben Thrasher, they're all going to be able to, there is a chance they're able to bring it back, but who knows? Maybe they're not, maybe they will, but it's all going to come down to week 2 when Ben and Ryan make their return. And this is something mentioned on the sideline during both games, both the Hogs, Knack Attack, and Trojans Dolphins game. Is this a defensively dominated league? Jacob, I want to know your thoughts on that.
On a defensive dominated league,
yes.
Correct?
Yes.
All right. Well, let me tell you something. Let's first start with game 1. Knack Attack versus Hogs.
Yeah, all good.
There was so much good defense there. Now there's also zero freaking effort besides a few people. And I was there hyping up the crowd as much as I could, which is what I come in handy for. And I was there trying to talk about strategies, but nobody would listen to me. Some of my strategies did work in game 2, but I also led to some turnovers for our team in game 2. So, it wasn't the best. But defensive league, I really think, again, we both teams put up a lot of points in game 2 between Trojans and Dolphins.
Mm-hmm.
But there was no defense whatsoever. When we started the ball in the second half, we scored, but you guys came right behind us. And then when we got back up again by 7 points at the end of the third quarter, after that time when you forced a turnover and got the interception and Brendan and James had a good play, then when you guys got back into the lead and it was an even game with 5 minutes going to fourth, there was no defense to stop us. So there needs to be a lot more defense, which is why I'm looking forward to seeing Knack Attack and Dolphins play this weekend and Trojans and Hogs, because I like to see some defense in there where, hey, if it is a game that's a tie game at halftime, is it going to be like Dolphins versus Trojans where it's scoring back and forth second half again, or is there going to have to be some defensive stops? And that's what I look forward to seeing, hopefully, between Knack Attack and Dolphins, and especially Hogs versus Trojans.
And you got to keep in mind, this isn't like an actual game where there's 5 linemen, 5 O linemen, and 5 defensive players rushing at the O lineman. This is 1 lineman on 1 lineman, and sometimes the other team's able to put 2 on 1, which is big. Like I did against the Hogs when I was playing for Knack Attack, I had to have 1 hand on Michael, 1 hand on Noah, and that's really difficult. Obviously, when you have 2 people running at full speed, and you have to have 1 hand on each of them, because they get past you in at least 2 seconds and they're gone. And it's really, I feel like if we had a whole line, it would be a lot easier, or it'd be a lot low scoring. But you also saw with the Hogs, they're able to take advantage of that 1 lineman and blow them out completely with no points scored against them. So defensively dominated league, honestly, with even though they didn't have any points scored against them, they still scored 84 points, and the other game was like 70 to 77. So I know what you mean by there's not a lot of defense, but it is hard to get sacks and stuff like that. But like, I mean, defense. I'm trying to think of what to say. Defense. I'm lost for words, honestly. I really am. It's hard. It is hard to play defense, but I think you're right. We need to step up, play a bit better defensive wise, and who knows? I mean, just wait till week 2, and I think week 2 is going to show a lot more than week 1 did, because they're going to have the full rosters back, except for Mason
and Ryan.
For sure.
Yeah.
So Ryan is set to return this Saturday
or Sunday. No, he's going to be out.
I think he'll miss the Sunday as well.
Did you know who their sub is, by the way?
I think the kid, first name is Brayton, I believe.
Brayton Balls. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know anything about the kid. I know both captains agreed on allowing him to play, so I mean, it'll be interesting to see. I don't know how good he is compared to Ryan, but
he's a lot taller. Well,
that's true.
I love Ryan, but Brayton's probably about my height, which means I will likely match up on Brayton then. However, my team talked about me being on the line. I don't know how well that's going to work out with Ben Percival, though. So that'll be interesting to see if they actually really do put me on the line in the end. But I think Brayton Bowles is decent. Speed, Kofor said, and Riley, he doesn't have that. But he can still jump up when needed to get the ball and the catch.
I think that's a good summary of week 1. So we'll move on to our guest segment. There's been some difficulties getting a hold of people, so we're gonna have Ben Morwick as our first guest. All right, so our first guest is Trojans quarterback Ben Morwick. He finished the day with 7 total touchdowns, 3 passing, 4 rushing, 212 passing yards. Overall, great game. Definitely a top 3 candidate for MVP. It was like they were talking earlier. It was a great game. So I'll let Kian and Jacob ask some questions.
Can I go first on this one, Kian?
Yeah.
My first question I have for you, Ben, and for our viewers out there, congratulations. You played one hell of a game. My first question out there is, how did you feel? How did you feel playing in the snow? Did you feel like it was harder to throw? Did you feel like it was harder when you were being rushed? How did you feel?
All right, it was 100% harder, like with the snow, like to run, to throw, because the ball would get soaked, and to catch. But, I feel like my team's got a lot of potential. They could go pretty far after that, like experience in the snow. So I feel like we can get all the way.
Thank you. Well, I look forward to seeing how well you guys do. And we have to play you guys at the Dolphins since we are your direct competitor. We play you 2 more times, so the other teams only play each other twice, just like how Neck Attack and Hogs play each other 3 times as well, because we're the same division. My second question for you is, how do you feel like your team did overall? From what I saw, of course, right from the beginning, you, Brendan, James, Carter, and Kian, you had a playbook ready to go, and you were ready to score on every drive. And when we were ahead by a touchdown, the Dolphins, when we were ahead, and we started second half with the ball, you guys were there to get us and to make those stops. How do you feel like your team did overall communicating?
I feel like our team has a lot of good chemistry. We definitely got our defense better. Our offense is already pretty good, like probably one of the best in the league, like maybe even the best. But our defense definitely needs a lot of work coming into next game against the Hogs, because the Hogs are a very, very good team.
My bad.
Thank you for answering the questions, Ben. Best of luck to you and the Trojans this weekend against the Hogs.
Thanks, man. Thanks.
Trying to think. I think Jacob really covered a lot of the stuff. What does it feel? It's public knowledge at this moment right now, but how does it feel to be the MVP current leader in the MVP race right now against Alex?
Well, I'm not gonna get too ahead of myself, but it'd be great to win. But I'd rather our team win the championship and think about that instead of thinking about me winning the MVP. So I got my mind on our team. I got my mind on the Hogs.
All right, it's good. It's good to think that way, Ben. It really is, and I think you should probably tell the team that as well, as most of us are really hyping you up, hyping you up for hyping you up for leading in the MVP race right now.
Thank you, Ben.
Apologize for my misspeak.
Well, I just wanted to ask too. How are you feeling about the matchup against the Hogs this week? How are you feeling going into that matchup?
Well, Michael is a very good player. Eric's a very good player. Ethan's a very good player. Like, their entire team is just very, very talented. So I don't know. If we come out with a win, that'd be great. But it's gonna be a hard-fought battle. So I don't know. It's gonna be a very close game, in my opinion.
I look forward to seeing you guys use the playbook.
Yes, that's true. The magic playbook.
People should be freaking out when they see the red playbook, because at first, me and a few of my players were giggling like, why do they literally have all these plays? And 2 drives later, we're like, oh, we need to start doing that too. We thought, people, this isn't the NFL. People have a few plays in their head and talk about it the night before. You guys are ready to come and win.
Yep.
So to Kian and Ben, who are on this call right now, big congratulations. Best of luck versus Hogs. And I look forward to working on the chains and seeing you guys fight hard.
Thank you.
Thank you. Come on, Ben.
All right.
thank you, Ben, for joining the show.
Thanks for
Good
having
luck
me.
to you this week against the Hogs.
Nice.
For
What's
our
up,
second
Michael?
guest, we have the defensive player of the week, Michael Dwenger from the Hogs. He had 5
Yes,
interceptions,
sir.
3 pick six, 1 sack, and 8 tackles. Just a crazy stat line.
Insane, Michael.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. All that matters is we got the win, man.
One hell of a game out there.
Thanks, Jacob. Oh, these are funny, man.
Can I start off with a question?
Go ahead, man. Ask anything you want.
So my first question is, communication is a big thing, of course. Knack attack, we had 0 communication. I tried to get us hyped up. It didn't work out.
Yeah, of course, man.
However, I believe Knack Attack has very smart people behind them. I believe in every one of their players that they will have great communication this week. But how do you think your team's communication did? And I should just mention, I have nothing against Knack Attack. They communication's one thing in football that you have to have before plays, and I think if they do that, they're going to be a really good team the rest of this season. But
Yeah, of course.
Knack Attack, of course. How do you think the Hogs did on communication?
I think we did great. I mean, we won 84-zip, man. We didn't really have many mistakes. I mean, we communicated where we had to, and we talked about the plays before we went to the huddle. Or before we went to line of scrimmage. Sorry, I think we did great on that part. That's what played in our success so well.
And my second question is, what are you most looking forward to playing the Trojans because you were at the game? What are you most looking forward to? You got drafted into doing the chains when you were tired, of course, if I recall. You're like, oh,
yeah.
So you ended up watching the game. What are your thoughts? You played the Trojans this week.
Trojans, I'm excited. Concerned, a little bit. I don't want to say I'm like all the way concerned. Maybe a little worried because they got some speed demons, and I know we got bigger guys like me, Eric, and Carter. We're all pretty big, and we're not as fast as they are, so it might be a little hard on defense. But I'm excited for the matchup. I think it'll be a competitive game.
And
I hope they play some defense and hustle.
Yes, and one other question I just would like to sneak in before you go to Kian and Noah is,
of course, man.
What are your thoughts on week 1 overall? Do you think that you made any big mistakes?
Not many.
Honestly, I think it went great for our first game. For like our first game, like even with dealing with all the snow and the shitty weather, I thought it went great. I mean, we didn't there was no arguments between players. The teams played along great. The reffing was good. Honestly, the only issue was the weather, and I feel like it's going to be even better this weekend once we have it's going to be hopefully dry and there's going to be no snow. Mistakes I made, I know that I definitely need to be more aggressive because, for example, trying to sack Nick at quarterback, I feel like a lot of just missed tackles. We just weren't taking it serious, or we were trying to do a certain thing. It wasn't working. We kept doing it, but that's on my end. I'm not seeing this on my end, and I'll have it fixed for next week. Other than that, no, it was a pretty good game.
Awesome.
I mean, we won 84-zip, man. Couldn't have been better than that.
Congratulations.
All right. And I honestly, it's not your fault for not taking it seriously. It's very hard to take it seriously when you're winning 84-0. But, yeah, I get you because I mean, I was the only lineman half the time, and I know you're much stronger than me. And when I'm able to block you with one hand, it is very. I know you're holding something back from me, but. My question to you, since Jacob asked 3, I'm probably only gonna ask 1, which is fine.
Okay.
Who do you think, in your opinion, who do you think is the most impactful player on your team, and who do you think is going to be the most important for going up against week 2?
So far, dead ass, no bias at all. I really think it's Noah because a lot of for example, a lot of my picks were off of under pressure throws. You know what I'm saying? And I wouldn't have got that opportunity to pick at all if the quarterback wasn't under pressure, which he was all game. Noah obliterated the other team's offensive line.
Yeah.
And I feel like if we don't have that, if the other quarterback has time in the pocket, it might not go so well. I might not get as many picks, or we might not get as many disruptions. Eric had a lot of swats that were great. They really helped us out. So yeah, I really feel like Noah's a key player right now. He's a good momentum builder.
It's interesting. And
especially when he gets a sack, dude. Oh, it's amazing.
It's crazy. Yeah, when your brother's going out there and just sacking the quarterback 3 times a game.
Exactly, man. He's going crazy.
Yeah, interesting take, but honestly, not a bad one, like at all.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask, it's pretty crazy when people think of MVP, they start thinking immediately think of offensive stats. But
Oh yeah, it's always the offense.
Right now, someone can make the argument that you're MVP off of your defensive stats. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, they could. And I feel like it's a good argument. I mean, you got to remember our first game, we had 8 touchdowns, right? Or no, I'm sorry, we had 12 total touchdowns. 8 of them were defensive. Like we were on offense for maybe 5 minutes the entire game, and that's it. I feel like if you are so quick to assume then if he's always offensive, you're gonna miss key factors like what I just said. We weren't on the offensive side of the ball at all. We were on defense, and we ran the game from that side. They had the ball most of the game, and we still shut them down. I feel like it was a good display of how defense wins the games, and our offense could take a back seat. Like, for example, we barely had 100 yards, I think, like total offense, because our defense was doing so great. So it was okay for that game.
And final question, I just wanted to ask, what do you think the key is to stopping this high-powered Trojans offense that you're about to face?
I feel like it's getting only one stop, to be honest, because I'm confident. I'm pretty sure they're going to score. I know I talked a whole lot of smack saying I was going to give up points or like that, but they're pretty fast and they got some good hands. I feel like they're going to score at least once or twice, maybe a couple more times, but I feel like no one can stop us on offense. Like, I truly believe get the ball in my or Eric's hands, and it's touchdown every time. Like, I really do think that. So if we can get one stop, we can just get one stop and keep scoring, it'll be a good game. We'll win. We'll bring home the W.
Thank you for answering.
Yeah, well,
of course, man. Thanks for the questions.
Much for being on the show this week. Well, hopefully to see you next week. Put up
Oh yeah, I'm playing too, boys. I'm playing too.
All right. Well, thank you, man.
Of course, dude. You guys be safe.
You too.
Thank you. How do you say your name?
Dwenger.
Yeah.
I want to give a shout out to our guests. Thank you to both of them for showing up. Definitely adds an exciting aspect to the show to talk to some players, get their insights and thoughts and stuff. But we're moving to our next segment. I want to know if you guys have any changes to the predictions you previously had made. If you maybe set a guy for MVP, you thinking a different guy now, just let us know.
If I can start on this one, Kian.
It's fine.
And last week you started a lot, and now I'm always trying to start now. I really think that these 4 people deserve a lot of credit. And they're not, of course, right now the top 3 for MVP, but I just want to say that these 4 people deserve a lot of credit. Benjamin Hewlett, Isaac Jones, Brendan Seago, and Kian Adams. You 4 deserve a lot of credit. You put in the effort. You were there to make catches, especially Brendan. He was a speed demon on plays, was able to get the catches there, was able to force turnovers. Isaac Jones and Ben, they were able to dominate. Ben Hewlett, some people doubted him. He came in like a speed demon as well, making those plays happen when he ran the ball a few times and caught great passes, as well as Isaac. Isaac played a very aggressive game, and he made many great stops. So I'd like to just give a shout out to those people. Everybody played a great game. We played. Nobody got injured. But going into week 2 predictions and everything and further predictions, I really think that for who's going to go 1 to 4, end up being number 1 team this season to the last team this season. I think it's too early to make that prediction, mainly because you can lose a game and still end up high in rankings. There's plenty of games left. I think there's 8 games, I want to say. You can lose a game or 2 and still end up to number 2 or number 3 or even number 1 team statistically. And for MVP, I think we really should consider James as well as Michael. And I say that because, look, as well as Eric and Ethan, and as well as Ben Morwick. And there's
Yeah,
so many
a lot of players.
but I really think we should make sure to include Michael in this conversation, as well as Alex Kofer. I didn't mention him in the first one because the people who I mentioned before, the previous four of you guys, those are people who I didn't think would do as well as they did. So that's why I just wanted to give them a shout out because they proved me wrong. Alex Kofer, he helped carry us without a doubt in so many different ways. He did better as a manager than I thought. And I also think I'd like to thank Mason Ebert, even though he won't be playing for a little bit still. He gave us a lot of great advice, and he actually played 2 or 3 plays, if I recall.
Yep.
So credit to him being injured and playing a few plays. Getting back to the MVP point, though, I think Michael and Alex Kofer and Eric Stearns are people that we should definitely be considering, as well as Ben Morwick and James Odell and Nick McAdams. Nick McAdams is going to help carry that team. Regardless of if that attack's going to come out fighting better, Nick McAdams is going to keep trying his hardest every week.
That's true.
And I look forward to seeing the Nick McAdams quarterback matchup versus the Alex Kofer quarterback matchup. I think that's going to be great.
I'm going to keep my answer a bit short. Honestly,
Sorry for going long.
No, you're good. I personally just want to keep mine short. You gave a lot of great insight on that, Jacob, but just the week 2 predictions, I don't know if Alex Kofer is going to be able to stay. Actually, no, sorry, not Alex. I don't know if the Trojans players are going to be able to stay in the MVP race because honestly, even though I'm a Trojan, the Hogs are a very, very, very hard team to play against. They are very well prepared for every situation nearly. And the just like predictions in general, I think that Trojans Hogs is one of the most fair matchups in the league, and Dolphins Knack Attack too. But it's just going to be crazy. I think Dolphins are going to take the W against Snack Attack, even though they have Benjamin Purcell now. But Trojans may lose this next game, honestly. The Hogs are just very well prepared for mostly every situation. I'm not saying we aren't, because we definitely are too, but it's crazy when you're going up against the Hogs, when you're in that game, just seeing how they play. It's just so quick, and then they score.
Yeah, for sure. So our final segment, we're gonna look at week 2 predictions. Kian, I know you kind of just stated who you think's gonna win and stuff already, but I want to get Jacob's thoughts on who he thinks gonna win, but also hear from both of you. Like which players do you think are gonna do great this week? You guys have any predictions for offensive player of the week, defensive player of the week? Just kind of want to hear from you guys on that stuff.
I think offensive player of the week will either be Nick McAdams, or Alex Kofer for the Trojan, or not the Trojans, for Neck Attack versus Dolphins. I think one of them will be the run-up for that game. And then I think for Trojans versus Hogs, I think we're going to see Ethan Stearns. Ethan did good last week, but I think he's going to do even better this week. And he's going to put a lot of pressure, I think, on either Brendan or James or whoever he's guarding. And I think he's going to be able to make some epic plays. I think Ethan Stearns could be the offensive player at the end of this week. And I think the defensive player could potentially be Alex Kofer or Nick McAdams.
Well, offensive player, my opinion, is I think Ben may be out of the race this week, but he's always ready to prove someone wrong. That's just who he is. Alex Kofer going up against Knack Attack. Who knows? Ben may get a sack or a few. So offensive player of the week for my prediction for week 2, probably Michael or James Odell, because James Odell is such a versatile running back. He's not the corners for Hogs are really good, but who knows their run defense? There was not much running. I don't think there was a single play using a running back in the Knack Attack Hogs game week 1, but I think either James Odell may be offensive player of the week or And then defensive player of the week, maybe Michael Dwenger.
Awesome prediction as well.
All right. I think that's a good spot to wrap up the show. I want to thank everyone for tuning into the show. Thank our guests again. Looking forward to a great week of football. We'll see you guys on week 3. Looking forward to it.
And thanks,
Real
Noah.
quick, I would just like
Yep.
to give a shout out to Noah McMillan for being there at 11 o'clock, getting everything set up, and for reffing both games accurately and having great calls for the most part. Thank you,
Same.
Noah.
Thank
I
you, Noah.
really appreciate that, guys. Appreciate it a lot. We'll see you guys next week.